How are you all doing tonight? My name is Bigbobbedboi, and welcome to a Hunter's Essential Guide, Phase 2 Melee Edition. Yes, indeed, this time we are covering all melee specs, although there's not quite as many as ranged specs. We'll cover runes, talents, rotations, pets, should you go serve or BM, all that shit. Then we'll talk about how it fits into the meta. BM first. The talents and runes. BM talents are super easy, and we've gone over them many times, so I'll just put this up. There's a few points you can move around, like the 2 in HP or armor, but the only real places you would need to put those would be bestial swiftness, Empman pet, pathfinding, or some very specific farming. This is pretty standard. And the runes are also pretty standard. Lion on chest, BM on gloves, flanking on pants, melee on belt, dual wield on boots. Literally nothing you can move around here if you're playing BM. The rotation. BM melee rotation is pretty simple. Get the pet in and bestial wrath. Flanking strike, then spam the ever-loving shit out of Raptor Strike, because it can proc and instantly reset. So you actually kind of do want to spam it. If flanking procs, hit flanking. Then go back to spamming Raptor. That is 99% of it. Let's talk about the other 1%. Aspects. So you actually do want to use Aspect of the Hawk even as melee, because it does buff your pet. It's not a lot, but it is there. So you will start in Hawk, then click over to Viper if you need to regen mana. However, when you've got your mana back, I just toggle Viper off, because that won't incur a global cooldown. Using Hawk will. If you have an open global, then you can go back to Hawk. Otherwise, just toggle it off. FD traps. Should we be using FD to drop traps in melee? Honestly, no. If it's an AoE situation, then obviously it's a good idea to FD trap explosive. But any kind of single target, it's not worth it to drop MO or explosive. Even with frame perfect timing, you shut off your auto attacks, you shut off your pet's attacks. It's a decent chunk of mana, it can be resisted, FD can also be resisted, it's just not worth it. And also, it's been really goddamn inconsistent for me in Nomer. I have no trouble whatsoever FD trapping on trash. But the combat pulse bosses are putting out in Nomer has been really strange. If that happens or FD resists, you just wasted that uptime for nothing. What about holding flanking procs to keep the 3-stack rolling? I've tried that and I didn't really notice any DPS increase. I can't say I've proved it's not worth it, but in the testing I've done so far, it didn't help. And it's a situation that really doesn't appear that often. Survival. Ooh, I love survival. The talents and runes. Serve talents are actually a bit flexible. 3 dragon slaying, 3 humanoid slaying, 2 savage strikes, 3 sure-footed, 3 killer instincts, 5 lightning reflexes are the must-haves. After that, honestly, you can put them wherever you want depending on your needs. This is my recommendation. Seems kind of all over the place, but this gets you the important trap talents for PvE, survivability talents, which are kind of useful because you can easily pull aggro with this spec. And Wyvern. Why take Wyvern? When you're running into melee, Wyvern will do more damage than a Serpent Sting or an Arcane Shot, so it's not a bad button to press. The big issue is everything in Nomer is immune, except basically the Trogs. But this spec is fine enough that I can just use this when I go to STV, I don't have to respec, so I tend to keep it like this. Chest rune is Heart of the Lion. So very interesting, but I tested this a lot. Lone Wolf is about the same damage as Lion plus Pet, which means it's really an easy choice to take Lion. Pets aren't in any danger in Nomer except for the Grubbus fight, from my experience. However, if you want to, you can run Lone Wolf and it is not a personal DPS loss. Sometimes it is a small gain, so if there's a second hunter or an Azaload of Paladins, you can do that. Gloves is Carve. Yes. Weird, I know, but it works, and it will change the rotation compared to BM. The other 3 are obvious. Legs flanking, waist melee spec, boots dual wield spec. The rotation. Pet in, you can cast Serpent or Wyvern if not immune on the way in. Flanking, Raptor, and spam the shit out of Raptor. If flanking procs, hit flanking. If Raptor procs, hit Raptor again. If nothing procs, you have time before Raptor comes back up again to use Carve, and that is what it's here for. Filler between Raptors. That's the only time we're going to use it unless it's a strange AoE situation. Are FD traps any different for survival? Not really. You actually have less opportunities to drop traps as survival since you're going to be running Carve as filler. However, definitely try to pre-trap. You can do it as BM, but it's really important as serve since you put talent points into that shit. Thermoplug is a good example. You can drop traps when he phase changes. Serve or BM? Yeah, so should you run serve or should you run BM? Here's my last number. 99 on Thermoplug, 92 on Menagerie. I'd say we still don't have a great strat for this yet. 99 on Pummeler. Electrocutioner 96, but I do soak for this, so I lose a little bit of uptime. 98 on Viscous. Real low on Grubbus. This kind of gives it away, but what spec did I play? Yeah, this was BM. And I think I was like 33 overall on the Thermoplug kill. I did just fine. Grubbus, my pet just died in the first 2 seconds. I was livid. I could have resummoned him and probably done fine, but I was seriously heated. We had some new people in there and they messed up, so my pet ended up tanking and died. Yeah, I would say you can play VM or survival. It is up to you. The top parses are mostly survival, but even there are some BM ones. I did a bunch of testing on this. Outside of Nomer, BM and survival are extremely close, and this is part of the absolute beauty of this melee, is both of these specs work perfect for ranged. All it takes is a rune swap. You don't have to change talents. The talents are almost exactly the same for ranged BM and nearly the same for survival. That's a little bit of spoilers for the next video, I guess. And because I know someone is going to ask, here's the weak aura I'm using for Melee Hunter. It's really helpful to know when flanking procs. Outside of that, I don't think you need anything special. Pets. Pets are extremely uncomplicated this phase. Just grab a cat, 2.0 speed. I'm still using the ghost cat. If you need to tame one now, Ridge Huntress is probably your best. It's level 39, I think, maybe 38, and it's 2.0 speed. I went and tamed one to confirm. For training, we want rank 6 bite, rank 6 claw, rank 2 dash, and then, well, pets can only know 4 abilities in classic, so you get prowl or growl. I'd just go growl for now. You'll use it a lot solo, and even in raids, I do still have pet tank some. Fire resistance is really good. I maxed that out completely. From there, the rest of your training points don't really matter. You'll have quite a few left. Nature resistance is pretty good. You do get some frost damage in Nomer, so that's okay as well. And of course, stamina and armor are fine. You can really just tailor it to what you're going to use the pet for. Melee Hunter in the meta. So yeah, Melee Hunters are pretty good in the meta. They are top spec for Hunter DPS, they are top for Melee DPS, and kind of top DPS in general. I don't think it's going to stay this way. Warriors are already scaling up really good, as you'd expect, and the actual top parses for most bosses, actually I double checked, for all bosses, are not Melee Hunter. Melee Hunter does not have the top parse for any boss. Top Grubbus, Mage. Top Vicious Fallout, Warriors. Top Thermoplug, Warlocks out the ass. Melee Hunter is not top for any fight, but it's high on every fight. And my expectation is it won't scale quite as well as other Melee, but it's going to remain very high up there. There was class tuning just a few days ago, and even another pass today. All they've done for Melee Hunter was add normalization to Raptor Strike, which is pretty fair and probably should have already had that, which just makes those axes even better for Orc Hunters. To be honest, I think Melee Hunter is in a pretty good place. People will cry nerf as they always do, but its damage is good. It has a not complex rotation, but a very reactionary rotation, and some people really like that. Plus, it only takes a rune swap to go over to ranged. I get really goddamn tired of hearing the argument, if I wanted to play Melee Hunter, I'd just play Warrior. It's completely different. If you think Melee Hunter is anything like Warrior, I am asking you to put that crack pipe down, because you've had enough. If you'd rather just play Ranged Hunter, well, I get that, and that's awesome. Next video, I'll cover the ranged specs. I actually wanted to do that one first, but there's so much testing to be done with that. That one might take me another 3 or 4 days. I'd like to do another Nomer as ranged, but we'll see. I hope you liked this video because I'm going hard over here. We did hit 20k subs, that is much appreciated. So if you did enjoy this video, hit that like button, subscribe button. Still haven't got the fist weapons button, all that other shit. I appreciate each and every one I get. Like for real, I actually do. But that is going to be all for this one. I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you all for the next one.